Welcome back to Align by Design, the podcast where we explore what it really means to live in alignment with who you are. I'm Flavie, and today we are diving into a powerful conversation about reclaiming your power, honoring your intuition, and rewriting the rules of success. Joining me is Marissa Auloure, a psychic business strategist, designer, and energy mentor who has built a business that blends the spiritual and the strategic. Marissa Journeys is one of transformation. She started in a brand and web design, but quickly realized that she could not ignore her intuitive gifts. Rather than choosing between her practical skills and her spiritual calling, she found a way to merge both, creating an entirely new way to help women build businesses that are not just profitable, but energetically aligned. So I'm so glad today to welcome Marissa. So Marissa, welcome to the podcast Align by Design. And just let us know who you are, what were you doing before, and where are you today?
Thank you so much for having me today. Hello, everybody. My name is Marissa Auloure. I am a psychic business mentor, and I am the owner and founder of Allure, an all-inclusive website platform. So before this, I was in design. I mean, I'm still in design, but I was in design, living in New York, right outside New York City, and I was an event planner there. And then I became a mother, a twin mom. I was married, went through my divorce, refound myself during the time that I was pregnant with my twins. I discovered that I was a psychic medium. And I guess I never realized I always had these gifts. I just thought everybody had this intuition and this knowing. And when I was pregnant, my twins really helped me come into my gifts. And that's when I realized that I have this ability that I'm meant to help other women in the world. So I've always been in the design world. When I was doing events, I was always designing the event space, designing what the cakes were going to look like, and then also the invitations. And then I started moving and shifting into logo design and website design, just really expanding my background. And I started just merging it all together.
Oh, I love, what you shared because the last episode I just shared it with my coming out about, all my psychic gift and so on. And I love how you shared that. You thought that everybody, had that in them, which was finally not the case. And from the moment, you transition, when you made the transition from brand and web design to incorporating, your psychic gift into your business strategy, what was the moment, when you realized, okay, I have to integrate both part. It cannot just be the web design. I need, to connect to this psychic part. And maybe did you had any fear on how people are gonna see you on that side? So can you share a bit about this?
Of course. So I guess long story short, I wanted to do both. And when I was just with the website design and doing the logos, for me, it was easy because money was coming in, the clients were always there, but I felt like a part of me was missing. So
Hmm.
then I would pause with the website and then I would shift just into the coaching and being a psychic. And the clients would come in then, but then I also felt like a part of me was missing with the design.
Yeah.
Then I started realizing I need to merge both of these together because when I was working in the design and doing the logos and designing the websites, I was also intuitively channeling for my clients,
Hmm.
intuitively channeling what their logo was supposed to look like, how their brand was supposed to feel. And then throughout it, all these things would come up like self-doubt, fear. And then I would just start coaching my design clients like just naturally because it's just who I am. And if I can help, I'm going to help. And when I was just working with my psychic coaching clients, their brand would start coming through, their logo would start coming through. They would tell me like, I'm having a really hard time moving the needle. And then we would start looking at their colors and then I would receive an intuitive download. They're
Mm.
meant to go in this direction with their brand. It's meant to feel this. It's time for them to up level. So that's when I said, you know what? I'm just going to merge both these together. I'm going to own my gifts as a psychic business mentor, and I'm going to own my gifts as a designer. And I'm just going to offer both. I'm going to have the mentorship and I'm going to have the agency. And
Mm.
sometimes having that one stop shop is really beneficial because you don't have to re explain yourself
Mm.
to another person. Where here, I see the whole vision. I'm able to execute it all. And it's been so fun. It's been so rewarding. And when, thinking about fear, like you asked me, like, was there this fear that was coming through? Of course, I didn't want to do it wrong. And I
Yes.
realized that when I
Mm.
started to really try to grab onto everything and take control, that's when everything started feeling really uncomfortable and the anxiety came in and the fear came in because I wasn't moving from a place of my essence, from my soul. I was trying to do what I thought everybody expected of me and also what I thought was going to bring me the most amount of money for me and my family. And now I'm divorced. I'm a single mom of twins, so I'm the primary breadwinner that has to do everything. So for me, making those decisions felt really hard and I felt the pressure. But when I realized that I was holding on too much and I was looking outwards and I needed to start looking inwards,
Mm.
that's when everything started to shift. That's when I felt myself really glowing and just radiating outwards, where people were starting to come to me and it started to come with more flow and with more ease.
Yes, that's so true. When you align to who you truly are and you stop, in a way, conforming, to what the society is expecting from you, from who you are supposed to be. But when you feel that it's not that alignment, that's when things are not going the way you want. But when you just find your center, it's okay. No, I'm just going to embrace who I am and just be. This is where, for me, true magic is happening. And this is just what you shared, that when you try to fight the wrong battle, the one you are not meant to be, it cannot go the right way. And in a way, you shared that struggling, with the societal expectations, you know, um, you were married, you divorced, you have twins. So finally, you have been told how you should live and what is the examples that you need to show to your kids and what's normal, being normal in business is. But you just shared that when you finally accepted who you are and what you were doing, things start to unleash. So, how did you, in a way, learn to trust your intuition when people say, no, that is not the right thing for you? How did you just say, no, I stopped listening, to the noise and I'm starting just to tap into my intuition?
So this actually has nothing to do with business and everything to do with my personal life.
Mm.
So when I'm like, how do I lead into this? When I was married, I knew my marriage wasn't for me. Before
Oh.
I had my twins, I knew I wanted to leave. I knew this wasn't the person I was supposed to stay with. Was he a good person? Yes, just not for me. It just wasn't working. Our dynamic wasn't there. And
Mm.
I had said I wanted a divorce and we had separated and my parents had come into the situation because I'm very close with my family. We're Italian New Yorkers. We grew up with just your family being there. And I love my family and I appreciate them and all of their help. But I went to them for help when I realized that I already knew the answer. I already knew what I needed. So my parents being the loving parents that they are, high school sweethearts, married for years, like I think it's like almost 45 years now.
My
They
God.
just wanted to see me be so happy. And in the beginning, I didn't know that my own parents struggled in their marriage and that they had their things that they needed to work
Mm.
through. And my grandfather, my dad's father, had sat down with them and said, marriage is hard. You have to work through it. If you love each other, you never give up.
Mm.
So that advice worked really well for my parents. And
Yeah.
my parents tried to give me and my ex-husband that same advice. And we listened. And at that moment, I thought I was making the right decision, but I knew deep down inside I wasn't. I
Yeah.
knew at that moment We could just break apart. We don't have kids. I could go on my way. I could take this as a learning experience and I can continue to do what feels right for me. So I
Yeah.
listened and I stayed. And 2 months later, I became pregnant with the twins. And I still just felt this uneasiness.
Mm.
And I felt this fear that I was doing it wrong. And this wasn't how my life was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, never envisioned myself being a mother. I thought I was going to just be the CEO of a company and travel the world and just vacation and live this luxurious lifestyle. And for me, becoming a mother didn't feel luxurious.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I don't know if other women feel like that or have ever felt like that, like really scary that my life is going to change and I'm not sure if this is what I want. But I think it was because I knew deep down inside it was eventually going to come to an end.
Yeah.
And I was going to be a single mother and I was going to be doing this on my own. And this was not how, if that happened for me, how I wanted it to happen.
Mm.
So I I realized that once my twins came and we were about a year and a half into like their life, my ex-husband took another deployment. He was in the military, took another deployment because we both needed space. He was
Mm.
running away from the marriage. I was completely disconnected. And I kept thinking back to that moment. Wow, if I would have just listened to myself and what I wanted,
Mm.
I wouldn't be in this boat. I mean, I love my children. I'm so happy I have them. And obviously, this was the direction it was supposed to go into for my life because I wouldn't be where I am now. But I think back to that moment now in the present time when I need to listen to my intuition. And if my intuition is so strong, but fear is coming up, rather than going to someone for advice or to my parents for advice
Mm.
or anyone, I've learned to use that lesson in the now.
Yeah.
Like, what is coming up for me? Why am I feeling this way? This is coming up for a reason. Let me sit with it a little longer
Mm-hmm.
rather than trying to make a quick decision or having someone else help fix it for me. So that's when I learned I was looking outwards for the approval, outwards for the okay, the thumbs up, where really I needed to be able to give that to myself. And I mean, I'm 40 years old. I still go to my dad and my parents, for advice. I mean, I probably will be like 60 and still doing the same thing because I have that close relationship with my family. But I've learned now when I need to pause
Yes.
and say, no, this is the message that's coming from within. Because if I did listen to that message, I wouldn't have gone through a crazy divorce. I would have done things differently. But I know now that was supposed to happen because that was the lesson I was meant to learn about how to really listen to my own intuition. So now when I do feel that, I reflect back on that moment and I use my inner compass to help guide me rather than looking for that outside advice.
That's so beautiful. And it's so interesting, because as you said, you knew it. But most of the time we don't listen to it until the moment was okay, I knew it. And if I would have had listened to myself, things would be in a way maybe a bit different today. But it's not something that you always know. You need to practice, you need to experience this to after say, okay, next time, yes, I'm gonna listen to my intuition and be close to your parents. This is so Italian. And I have the same. I have the same. I'm so close with my mom and my sister. And it's so beautiful to know that you can count on people. But as you shared, advice is from others are not always the one which applies the best to us. So that's why it's so important to really listen to your heart, to your soul, what is resonating with me. And if it's not, it's just don't follow other rules, don't follow other advices. And this is where, when you tap into your intuition, because you have this inner knowing, you have this inner wisdom, just follow it. And I also love, how you just shares that you had those big dreams about your being the CEO of your company and traveling the world. And I don't know if you share that vision with me, but so many women hesitate, to go after what they really want because it's like, no, I need the permission, to think bigger. Or sometimes I don't even dare to think big or even dream. And how did you just start to, in a way, break free from any self-imposed limits and just because I know you have a big vision. There are things I know that you don't know yet, but I know that you have this big vision. And how do you just expand, into the vision that you truly desire? How do you just allow yourself for not limiting yourself?
So I'll be quite honest, my big vision feels way more comfortable to me than I feel so bad saying this. If my children ever listen to this in the future, mommy loves you guys. Okay. My big vision felt way more comfortable for me than becoming a mother.
Oh,
That actually felt uncomfortable because it wasn't what I had in my plan.
mm,
I had big visions ever since I was a child. I had these big goals. I saw myself. I was able to see my future. Like I said, I thought everybody had this. I thought everybody was just able to tap into this inner compass and this inner knowing. And I'll never forget when I was 12 years old, I had an art teacher that really inspired me and I loved her. And I was really big into art. That's why design will always be a part of my world. And she told me she went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. I
mm,
didn't know where that college was located. I just knew I'm in New York. That's in New York City. She's my favorite art teacher. That's exactly where I'm going to go. And from that moment, I said, that's where I'm going. And
mm,
I manifested, I made it happen. I was able to really see my picture and where I wanted to go and the traveling. So that to me felt really comfortable. It felt like this is what I'm supposed to do because I was connecting inwards.
yeah,
And I started connecting outwards. And then I got married.
yeah,
Bought a house. I started doing all of the traditional normal
yeah.
society things of the expectations of what my family wanted me to have, which was go to college, meet somebody, get married, then have kids, and then you live a happy life. And that's how it's supposed to be. And to me, it felt really small. To other people,
Mm.
that may be their big goal, their big dream. But for me, I knew I was supposed to
Do something. Yeah.
carry my vision outwards. So now I've learned that my children can be a part of my big picture. They can be a part of my big dream and they can travel with me. They can be home and listen to me on podcasts and they can watch me, do interviews and follow my dreams and, buy, expensive, pretty perfume because I like the way it smells
Mhm.
and really live from this place of luxury because that's what lights me up and feels really good. So when I was thinking about being this big ripple effect, like
Mm.
out for all the women and for everybody else living my dream, I'm realizing that living my dream is also going to be touching upon my children who are then going to see that and create their own ripple effect.
Mhm. Yeah.
So even though this isn't what I saw in my vision, I've really learned to adapt my big vision into the life that the into the path that I became. So did that answer your question? I'm not sure.
Yes.
I like
Yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah. No, definitely. And I love how you finally, succeed to see that your biggest picture will have a ripple effect. And in a way, it shows to your kids that you can dream big. And you can have those big vision and say that you can achieve it. Because most of the time our dreams just remain dreams. But here it's look, mommy has big dreams, but she makes her dream become a reality. And it's just showing them. And I love, about what you share because you are all about, the sense and the smell and the colors and the touch and everything. So in a way, you also help them to say, okay, look, life is not just about doing, it's about experiencing. Because I'm sure that inside your home, it's all about experience too, just like in your business. And for me, it's how you can help others to dream big. And by showing to your kids, they will be able their own way to do the same with their friends. And for me, this is where we're just creating, this ripple effect of, yes, let's dream big and make it a reality. I don't know if
Completely. Yeah, no, completely. As I noticed that when I'm not living in my essence and when I'm not doing the things that feel good to me, I mean, it's easy to slip into that anxiety. It's easy to slip
Mm,
into depression. It's easy to slip like into like I'm out of alignment. So I noticed that right away where I'm saying like, okay, I'm feeling a little different today. What's going on? What am
mm,
I doing? Am I doing something in my business that maybe my clients are expecting of me to do,
yeah.
or that the industry is expecting me to do, but this just doesn't feel right to me?
Hmm.
And I notice that when things start to feel like a job, that's when I'm like, okay, this is not it. This
Yeah.
doesn't feel like passion. This doesn't feel like excitement. And then I stop and I pause and I come back into me.
Mm,
So for me, I want everything to feel luxurious. And I think the definition of luxury can be different for many, many different people. Luxurious to one person can be a really quiet, soft morning, sipping tea outside in the mountains,
mhm.
listening to, the birds, feeling the crisp air. And that just is like a very luxurious moment because to them, that feels beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, luxurious for me is surrounding myself with I feel like I've created my life as like a brand. I
Mm.
want it to smell beautiful. I want it to feel beautiful. I want to,
Smell beautiful.
yeah, I like taking the time in the morning to curl my hair, to pick out my clothes, and having those moments that are about connecting with my essence. And for me, I express my creativity through fashion and through the way I decorate my home and, the way that like I carry myself so for me, that's my luxury. And if it means I'm taking the day and saying like, okay, next week I'm realizing that I'm feeling a little burnt out. What's going on? Did I give anything to myself this month yet? And if I have to close out one day just to have a quiet day and maybe go get a massage or maybe just have like a slower morning that I can come back and even binge on my favorite TV show. I've learned that if I want my life to feel luxe and luxurious, I have to connect with what I really need. So I've learned that luxury is different to everybody. And I just need to live with my definition of what feels good in my soul.
I love what you just shared because so many times, especially when you're a business owner, you are here thinking of everything you have to do. And you enter in a circle where you don't have fun anymore. You don't have passion anymore. You are just in the action and you forget to be. And by just what you shared, because it was one of my next question, because you work with energy, branding, personal transformation, and how finally someone energy affects their business success, and you just answered it. It's you need to take care of yourself. You need to be aware of your energy, your thought, your if you're joyful or not. How is your, how can I say, internal, weather in a way, and how you can just make a shift to realign yourself. And it's okay, today I'm just going to take the time to align myself to be more in my purpose and not just thinking, okay, no, I'm just going to continue, to be in that fast pace mode and forget about living. And I find it just so beautiful that you shared that reminder that, yes, you can take a time to slow down, to binge in front of your favorite, series if you want, because it's part of your energy and it's all about knowing who you are, feeling what is going on. And it's not just energy, it's also, I think, your thought and everything that goes all around.
It's so true. And I think that's what a lot of people forget in life. They lead with these, I'm expected to do this.
Hmm.
And then that creates resentment, frustration, and then it turns into anger, and then it ripples into anxiety and depression. But when you're not leading with the things that you ultimately want to do, that's when you hit those roadblocks. That's when you get stuck. And for me, I focus specifically on chakra energy. That was when I stepped into becoming, and not, I mean, I always have been, but when I owned my gifts of being a psychic medium, I received the message that the chakras are my keys of how I help people. Because when I was going through my divorce and when I was transitioning my entire life, I moved from New York to Florida, where I live now. And it was really a big moment for me. I was letting go and leaving everything that I knew to start over again. But if I wasn't connecting to myself in that moment, I probably would have never done it because I knew this is what had to happen next. I knew that was my next step. And the only way I knew that is because I felt it in my soul. So I started learning each chakra. I started learning what the root chakra was and what my limiting beliefs were. And I started realizing that a lot of the things that I was in fear of was letting other people down
Mm.
because I wasn't living what they expected of me.
Yeah.
But in return, I was letting myself down because I wasn't allowing myself to shine and truly being who I wanted to be, who I
Yeah.
was supposed to be, and living in my purpose.
Mm. That's so true. That so many times, and I see it so often, even with my clients, that we let other dimming our light, and we just, let other giving us even doubt and say, okay, maybe I'm not going in the right direction. And I find that it's so beautiful that you are the examples that no, this can become possible. You can change your life. You can just change who you are, shifting even, from what you are doing, from what you are doing today, embracing at the same time your spirituality and in a way your gift, because you allow yourself to be who you truly are, no matter what other might say, might think, or what no matter what happened, and I find it so beautiful that you
Yeah.
have been, able to go through this. And of course, I'm sure that it has not been, a straight line, and you had also, doubt and moment of, yes, low moment.
I still have doubt. I mean, I think if any business owner ever tells you, or anybody that, has like shifted into their dreams that are doing it, fear is, I mean, it's there. It's a part of us. It's always going to come in. So if somebody tells me like, "Oh, I don't have fear. I'm over that." I'm, you're not
On it.
you're not looking really in the mirror. So it's always going to come through. But I've learned that when fear or self-doubt comes in, I I stop, I recognize it. I actually embrace it now because I'm like, okay, what's going on here? What's out of alignment? Why am I feeling this way? Am I feeling that fear because this is actually a good fear because I'm expanding and I'm growing? Or is this the fear that's at the lower vibration trying to keep me playing small?
Yeah.
I think there's two different sides to that fear. You know,
Exactly.
there can be that fear where you are in the cocoon still, like the butterfly, like the caterpillar that goes into the cocoon. It's scared, it doesn't know what's out there, but it's feeling really tight and restricted as you're growing and forming. And then all of a sudden the light peeks through and you're not scared anymore because you can actually see. You see what you've been transforming into. You
Mhm.
see those big, beautiful wings, and now you're able to soar throughout the world. So, fear can also be a really beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be negative, but I think it's bringing the attention to what does that fear actually mean for you in that moment? And what is that message right there?
I love what you share because fear can be, a catalyst in a way, or it's gonna pull you down and say, okay, no, I need to, and this is your mind talking, I need to stay in my comfort zone. But if you listen to your intuition, most of the time, as you shared, this fear doesn't have the same feelings, same sensation, and it's the one showing you that you're afraid because you're on your way to grow. You're on your way to expand because you are on your way to just jump in the unknown, get out of your comfort zone, and that is a good fear. So I love how you shared that. Sometimes it's just asking you a time to pause, take a deep
Mhm.
breath, and reflect. What is going on? Is it a good fear? is it a bad fear? Is it something that is just preventing me from succeeding, moving? Is it self-doubt, but it's the wrong one? Or is it the good one? Because yes, I don't know if people are gonna understand me, but I'm ready to share my message, my story, something that's gonna resonate with others. And that's if you have to, notice and keep a note on, okay, I need some time just to pause and reflect and check if it's for a good thing or if it's just my mind trying to keep me safe. And I just love this reminder. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing that I always tell my clients that I remind myself a lot too is that your ego is always going to want to keep you playing small. It's never going to want to see you expand. It's never going to see you want to grow because that means that it no longer has any attachment to you.
Mm,
So I tell all of my clients, and I remind myself too, that your ego has had a full-time employment with you. So whether you are 20 starting a business, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever it might be, whatever age you are, I always say, when you recognize that and you see that, and if you hear this message right now, fire your ego. Your ego has had a full-time employment with you, and it's not here to help you, it's hurting you. And it's time to let it go. So I think I was probably around 31 when I realized this. That's what I said. I was like, okay, so you're fired. You've been with me for 31 years.
you know,
You are not a good employee. You have not helped me succeed. You are just keeping me playing small and you've got to go. And there are times where it creeps back in and I kind of like laugh to myself and I'm like, oh yeah, you're not reapplying for a job here. It's you're gone. Like
the
goodbye.
image.
Like the position has been filled with someone and something better, and that's me. And so I just kind of bring that in as a reminder, like to
No,
myself.
no,
Question,
I
actually.
love I can, just picture the image of, the ego coming back, say, yeah, no, can I just reply, I grown up, I learned how to be even more conservative, in a way. And oh my God, that is so funny. And yes, you're right. Your ego just gonna keep you small, gonna keep you stuck, and will not be the one allowing you to reach at least your dream. And that's such a because I was asking, okay, do you have a last piece of advice for anyone today who maybe feels stuck between what a woman should do or she knows she's meant to do, but she doesn't dare. And here it's not just about ego. It's really, it's okay. I have big dreams, but I don't know if I can just achieve it.
So that's a really great question. So I think the one thing that I would tell everybody is that sometimes what you're feeling and the energy that you have in your body may not necessarily be yours. It could be family karmic energy. It could be a limited belief that you adapted to somebody else. It could be just passed on from family lineage, and you are the one that is meant to break the mold. You are the one that is meant to, you
Right.
know, kill the generational curse and it ends with you. And especially now,
Yeah.
our generation and our time from, 20s to 50s, we are the ones that are changing the world. We are changing the energy and we are meant to do the big hard work. So it may be yours, it may not be yours, but the way that you find that out is by diving into your chakra energy. Our root chakra is developed from the point of conception before we're even born up until about 7, 8 years old. So at that point, your root chakra is being developed before you're actually here out into the world.
Mm.
And that energy starts to form your cells. So whatever your mother may be going through while she's, you're in her womb, or your father, or even just lineage can be really showing up in you and with you. So for me, mine was always breaking the family curse that is within the women in my family of needing to conform and follow the rules, and not having boundaries. And
Mm.
that was the biggest struggle in my life, is I always had such a hard time creating those boundaries because I never wanted to upset anybody. I never wanted to, just be a disappointment, for anybody at all. But I realized that I'm the one, it stops with me. And
Mm.
it's not going to trickle down to my children.
Mm.
And I'm going to do the deep work. So sometimes it can be a little difficult to say, is this really me, like my energy, or is it family karmic energy? But either way, it's coming up in you, and you're the one that's meant to heal it and do the work.
Yeah.
So diving into each chakra. And I mean, I know we don't have a ton of time today to go through each chakra point, but if somebody is entering into this and they're learning about chakras or they want to, I mean, they're more than welcome to connect with me, talk to me. I'm happy to help shift and guide you through it. Or if you are well versed in chakra energy, but you just need that, beautiful reminder, I hope this was the reminder that whatever's showing up for you, it's here because you're the one that's able to actually fix it and heal it. So you can create and stand firm and deepen your purpose and help the world.
I love it to share it because I truly believe it also that our generation is a generation of game changer. This is how I call them, We're the game changer. And I also when I'm tuning and I'm having, those session with my own client and I have those ancestors coming and say, okay, now you're the one to just change all those lineage, all those generation. You were always doing the same thing. You are here to create the change. And you said, okay, it can stop or it can just start. You are the one starting the new generation, starting and engaging with that change. And what we're doing gonna have such an important impact and effect on your kids and their own generation. And for me, I see like an ascension of the good because we're all here to change, we're all here to grow. And sometimes, yes, it comes on you, but because I truly believe that you have the strength, you have the courage, you have the ability to drive that change. And you have not been chosen, just like this. The universe knew that you are able to hold this, you are able to handle this, and you can just make what is meant to become enough. Such a beautiful reminder. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is beautiful, wonderful. I loved our talk.
Yeah, no, and that's so true that all the thing with the chakra and the energies that could be, another topic all about chakra and energies that we could tap in. But just to come to an end, I would love to know how can people just reach out to you? What do you have new for the people maybe who want to join your universe or just following your work? Can they find you?
Of course. Thank you. Yes. So everyone can find me at allure.com. It's AULOURE.com. You could go there and I have access to my all-in-one inclusive website builder platform, which is very similar to Kajabi, if anybody is familiar with that. It's an intuitive drag and drop builder. So I realized that I needed to simplify the way that we were showing up digitally. So that's when I decided I'm working on all these platforms that just don't have all the pieces that I need and that my clients need. So then I said, okay, I'm going to put it together. So here we go. So whether or not you'd like to come to the agency side, I'm happy to support you there. Or as just a DIY, you could come in. There's templates that you can use, and it has everything you need. So that's from your website to your funnels, from your course to your store, your calendar, appointment settings, your email automation, and just everything's there. You could create quizzes. It's so wonderful. I love it. So, or when you go to allure.com, you can open the door and have the option to work with me one-on-one. And from there, I specifically work with something that I created called the chakra codes. So the chakra codes for business and then also the chakra codes for life. Because not only do you have the chakras for your life, but our business also has energy. Our business is also going to have blocks that actually stems from us. So it's important that you build your business from each chakra point, building it from the ground up. Because I always say life equals business. So it's going on in your life and on in your energy. That's going to trickle into your business. So if you're having a hard time scaling, or if you're having a hard time finding clients, or even connecting to your purpose, we're going to bring it back into you, and then it's going to connect into your business. So I've got both doors there at allure.com where you can go into the agency, DIY, or working with me. And then you can also find me on Instagram at House of Allure.
I love House of Allure. Oh, that's so beautiful. And it's some, we talk about it so French also, so I like it.
Yes, I mean
Allure.
that is a whole other story. And like the way it came was just very intuitive and past life for me. Like we were talking about a past life that I had in France. So
Yeah.
yes, everything was built for my business from my soul, from my essence.
And that what is, I think, and we're just going to close on this, is never forget that everything in your life should come from your soul, not just from your head or what others are saying, but really just tap into what is true for you. And you will see that you may discover new things about you, around you, and you're just going to create ripple effect of all the magic that's going to come through this. So thank you so much, Marissa, for being with me today for this podcast. And it was lovely to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure.
Thank you. Wow, what a powerful conversation. Marissa's journey is a reminder that our deepest power comes from trusting ourselves, our gifts, our knowing, and our ability to create something entirely our own. Is what I want you to take away from today's episode. First, you don't need permission to step into your full power. Society will always try to tell you what's right, but your intuition already knows your path. Then, failure, it's not failure, it's redirection. Every challenge, every setback, every wrong turn is actually pointing you toward what's truly meant for you. And lastly, your gifts, whether practical, creative, or intuitive, are meant to be integrated. You don't have to choose between what's logical and what's spiritual. You can blend them in ways that's uniquely yours. And as we close, I want to leave you with some question to reflect on this week. Just have a look of where are you holding your power back? What it would mean for you to retrieve them? And finally, what is one small step you can take today to live more in alignment with your true self? And as usual, you can journal it, you can think about it, and you can share about it also. So thank you for joining me and us today. And if this episode resonated with you, please subscribe and join me next week as we continue exploring the path to alignment and self-acceptance. And if you know someone who might benefit from hearing this message, please share with them this episode. And together, let's spread the word and help in each other into their true self. And until next time, stay true, stay aligned, and keep evolving.